Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today, a video I am very excited about. I am going to be talking a little bit about the top performing teams at the Sydney Regional, which also happened the same weekend as Fort Wayne Regional. So they were both happening, the first two regionals to take place in Regulation C. And so there's a couple of things I want to talk about, but specifically, I want to talk about Azumarill. Azumarill got third, and I do think Azumarill is a little bit underexplored right now. So I want to talk about Azumarill, I want to talk about the team, and I want to talk about Azumarill's uses. Can I say Azumarill one more time? Azumarill did it. Okay, also, so someone did comment that I talk too quick, and I know that is true. I know I talk fast. So, today I'm going to do my best to slow down, take a couple deep breaths. Maybe that will also help with me tripping over my words a little bit, so please bear with me. I am going to be giving that a very conscious effort, and I do know that about myself. But I'm gonna do my best to talk a little bit slower today. So thank you all so much for bearing with me. I really do appreciate it. And if you enjoy, please feel free to leave a like, comment, or subscribe. If not, for exactly none of that, I really do appreciate any support on the YouTube. So, just a little bit of background. So like I said, Sydney did happen the same weekend as Fort Wayne. It was 8 rounds of Swiss plus top 8. And so, just a trend, just something. Wait, can you see my mouse? Excuse. Yes, you can. Okay, sorry, I could not tell. My bad. So, a trend that is very exciting to me is that, look at all of the water types we're using right now are physical water types. And I honestly can't, not all, but largely, every single water type in top 8, and there are 6 out of 8, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yes. 6 out of 8 of the teams have a water type, presumably a bit of a bulkier water type, but all of them are physical attackers, and I genuinely can't remember. I was really trying to think about this too, and I genuinely can't remember the last meta. Like, obviously, I haven't played VGC, like, since its inception or anything, but I can't remember the last meta where all of the water types being used are physical water types. And that includes, there's not a Dindonzo in this top cut, but that also does include Dindonzo. I guess, like, Tatsu. So, it's, I mean, we do have special water types. So we have Tatsu, and we have, Gastrodon, and I'm sure that there are more that I am forgetting. I apologize. Please forgive me. If you can think of more that we're seeing, please put them in the comments down below. I'm sure I'm going to feel very silly. I feel like there's a very obvious one I'm missing. But just to point out that in Top Cut, all eight physical water types. Very interesting, and I also think it's just a really cool time in the meta and just kind of fun to see. So I wanted to point that out as well. We do have 3 Palafins, 2 Gyarados, and 1 Azumarill. I'm very excited to talk about the Azumarill, but before I get into a little bit more detail about the Azumarill, I do want to talk about the winning team, Liam, who went 8-0. Wild. That is a very, very, very good run. Big congrats. So it's the Iron Hand set that I specifically want to talk about. I think I have the team pulled up on Showdown. Hold up. Boop, boop. How do people do such seamless transitions? I do. Nice. Okay. So I do want to talk about this Iron Hand set. So this Iron Hands, I feel like the Iron Hands I see most are usually Assault Vested. This is a Safety Goggles Iron Hands with Swords Dance and Protect. No Fake Out. So Swords Dance, Protect, Drain Punch, and Wild Charge. So with Terrafire, I think the cool thing to note about Safety Goggles paired with Terrafire, so with the goggles, you cannot be spored, you cannot be rage powdered, and if you Terrafire, you cannot be burned. And I think a physical attacker that can't be burned is always a beautiful thing, and can be extremely hard for your opponent to deal with, especially, so if you use your Gothitelle, you can fake out turn 1. Like, it's not like the team doesn't have fake out, so you can fake out turn 1, and then, let's say they lead with their Intimidator. Their Intimidator is trapped in unless they Terra Ghost. So unless they Terra Ghost, that Intimidator is trapped in, you can fake out with your Gothitelle, and you can Swords Dance. You can also go Terrafire if the way that your opponent usually deals with physical attackers is to just spread Will-O-Wisps across the board, then you're a fire type and they can't Will-O-Wisp and they can't cycle their Intimidates on you. So you just get to set up your Swords Dance, and then you get to Drain Punch, get your health back. Like, if you Wild Charge, you take a Recoil. Next turn, you can Drain Punch, get some of your health back, all that kind of good stuff. So I just think it is a very cool Iron Hands set, and the fact that you can't be spored, and if you can't be spored because of your item, and if you tear, you can't be burned. It just seems like this Iron Hand can get out of control very quickly, because Iron Hand, I said I wasn't gonna trip over my words! Oh my gosh, well now I'm eating my words. Okay. Iron Hands, there we go, also has very good bulk. Does have very good bulk as well. So if you start Swords Dancing, Drain Punching, getting your health back can just get out of control very quickly, especially if you can't be spored or burned. That's really all, that's what I wanted to say about that, but I do want to talk about Azumarill, because like I said, physical water types are really having their day, and I think Azumarill's a little bit underexplored, and I really enjoyed seeing it come in third in Sydney, come in third at that regional. So so what sets Azumarill apart from other physical bulky water types, you know? And that's kind of what I was thinking about. So I think the first thing, there's a couple. So the first thing that sets it apart from Palafin is, you don't have to swap out your Palafin, of course. I think you can go for some spicy Baby Dolphin plays, 100%, catch your opponent off guard. But I think a lot of the time, especially if you're intimidated, you probably want to swap out your Palafin to ensure that you are getting the most damage possible. Azumarill has the huge power ability, does not need to swap out to be getting that big damage. I think the second big thing is that it's a Fairy type. And so with the 4 Ruin Mons being added, all the Ruin Mons are Dark type, so at its base, Fairy type is going to be hitting all of those Pokemon for super effective, except for Chi-Yu. Chi-Yu is a Fire and Dark type, so the Fire typing resists, I can say this correctly, the Fire typing resists the Fairy type, and the Dark type is weak to it, so it takes neutral from Azumarill's Play Rough. However, you do have that Spicy Liquidation, you do have that Aqua Jet, so you are still hitting Chi-Yu for super effective damage, so you can hit so with Azumarill, you know, barring Terra. I know Terra exists, and that's why sometimes, you know, talking about type matchups can get a little confusing. But at its base, Azumarill at its core can hit every single Ruin Mon for super effective damage. Stop playing with your hair. Stop. Sorry, that was to me. Can hit every Mon super effective, and so I think that's really one of the things that sets Azumarill apart. It also, so that, interestingly enough, the Chien-Pao on this team does not have Sucker Punch, Sacred Sword, Throat Chop, and Ice Spinner. And honestly, I'm still trying to find what Chi-Yu set. Sorry. Did I say Chi-Yu before? I meant to say Chien-Pao. This Chien-Pao does not have Sucker Punch, and I'm still trying to find what Chien-Pao set I like to run. I like the most, but I think this is a really, foregoing the priority move, I think we don't see that a lot. I think many times it's going to be Sucker Punch. However, it's not that this team is foregoing priority, because priority is incredible right now. Priority is really incredible right now. This team does not forego priority. We have Extreme Speed Arcanine. We have, as I mentioned, the Aqua Jet on the Azumarill, and we also have Extreme Speed, Banded, Terra Normal on the Dragonite. So I do think another thing that Azumarill offers is you have double Ice Spinner Mons. So let's say your opponent has Indeedee, you know, sets up their Psychic Terrain. Then you have not one, but two ways to get rid of it. So then you can go back to really utilizing all of you can really go back to utilizing all of the power of your priority moves. Like I said, priority is incredibly strong right now. So I think I also want to mention that Azumarill gives you, whereas wait, I don't think Palafin gets Ice Spinner. Now I'm like, I don't want to spread lies. No. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. So that is another, sorry, let me go back. I apologize. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't spreading lies real quick. Also, nope. Okay, this is where I want it to be. I think the other thing about this team that I find interesting is no Protect on the Amoonguss. And especially, so this is open team sheet, especially in open team sheet, Protect is so incredibly valued. Right? In open team sheet, protect makes your opponent think, okay, if you didn't protect last turn, do I want to double into this? If your opponent knows you don't have protect, they can just so easily double into you. There's no mind game there. So I think not having protect on Amoonguss, and specifically Amoonguss, one of the things that makes Amoonguss so good is the protect. Because it makes your opponent think like, oh, I need to target into the Amoonguss because I don't want to go to sleep, but then think, oh, are you going to protect? And then you have the option to protect, to preserve sleep, to preserve rage powder, all that kind of stuff. But I will say, the clear smog, so we see a lot of Amoonguss with rage powder, spore, pollen puff. I think that is probably the most common set. But we do see the clear smog, and I do think on this team, clear smog is such a good call because besides the clear smog, you don't have the easiest. You don't have like haze or anything to handle the dozo. You can cycle your intimidates, all that kind of good stuff. You can burn the dozo, and burning the dozo and intimidating it should absolutely slow it down enough where you can get a clear smog off as long as it's not steel type. As long as it's not steel type Terra. You also do have the booster Fluttermane with the T-Bolt. If they don't Terra and they remain water type, then you can T-Bolt them. So there are definitely plenty of ways around Dozo, but I do really like the clear smog aspect on the Amoonguss, and I think it really does make perfect sense. Also Terra Water, great defensive Terra on Amoonguss as well. It gives you two water types. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it's a little bit of a shorter video, just a little bit of a shorter video, but I just wanted to make sure that I talked about both the Iron Hands of the winning team, but I really did want to talk about Azumarill and what separates Azumarill from other bulky physical water types right now, and I do think Azumarill's a little bit underexplored. I think it's a very cool Pokemon, and I'm definitely gonna try testing it a little bit more as well, and you still have your triple, even without the Sucker Punch on the Chien-Pao, you still have your triple priority moves, but without the Sucker Punch, you aren't necessarily relying on all your priorities. So I just really like the team. I like Chien-Pao, Azumarill is similar to like Chien-Pao, Dolphin, and everything like that, but you're using a little bunny instead. And then you have the Amoonguss and the Arcanine as your support. I also wanted to mention Choice Band, and it is Inner Focus. Dragonite, that way you can't be intimidated. So just wanted to point that out as well with Low Kick. I think the Fire Punch is very cool, as well as the Aerial Ace and the Extreme Speed. A really interesting moveset. I like the Aerial Ace that way, because a lot of people... Sorry, I said I was finished. And then I was just like, no, let me touch on this Dragonite. I need to make bullet points. I don't even do, for these kind of videos, I usually don't write bullet points, but I really need to start writing up bullet points because I'm just gonna end the video and not talk about Aerial Ace. Dang. So, Aerial Ace goes through accuracy. That's great. We're not trying to play with accuracy drops today. So 1 goes through accuracy. 2, I think a lot of people rely on Terra Flying on the Dragonite to go with Terra Blast, but here, you don't need to Terra. You don't need to rely on your Terra to have a move super effective against grass type, super effective against Amoonguss, once again, as long as it doesn't Terra, all that kind of stuff, and you go past the accuracy check. So I definitely wanted to touch on the Aerial Ace. I like that a lot. You still have Terra normal, Extreme Speed, however, you still have that flying type move, because I don't believe there's another flying type move on this team. Yep, okay, perfect. Yep. So I did want to just touch on that as well, but a little bit of a shorter video. Thank you so much for sticking around. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for all the love recently on the YouTube. Honestly, it's been absolutely wild, so just thank you. Yeah, I will probably, next video will be either on some more ranked ladder content or some team building stuff. I usually don't do, well, I don't need to go into that. I don't need to go into that, but I usually don't do a ton of team building. Just because I feel like I'm not good at making team building interesting. I like talking about stuff and I like playing, but I don't feel like I'm good at making team building interesting. But maybe I'll give it a try. But anyway, thank you all so much for all the support. I really do appreciate you. Okay, for real, that's gonna be it for me. I messed up the outro. I did my best. Hopefully also I spoke a little slower. I spoke a little bit more clearly. Please let me know if this was better in the comments down below. I tried, and it's something that I will also continue to work on. But for real, now that it's off the rails, for real, okay.